Okay, so good morning, everyone, uh, from this chilly West Cork October morning. And as ever, we are bringing the scattered mind home, bringing the scattered selves home to the centre, to the present moment. We do that by bringing our awareness to the centre of ourselves, to the breathing, just to focus the attention on the breathing, to notice the body, and to notice exactly who we are in this moment in time. So what we're really doing is reacquainting ourselves with the fullness of our being. And this is very important because while our being is scattered, while there are parts that we don't want to look at, we are not operating as a full person. We're not operating as a full person. So we're gently bringing the selves home and creating a space in which all of ourself is welcome and safe to exist in a non-judgmental way. And one of the things that can happen when we do this is that we can have memories that come back. And so we've got these parts of ourselves that have been somehow frozen in history, often due to trauma. So when we bring the selves back, it doesn't necessarily happen while we're doing the meditation, but we meditate, we focus on the breathing, we just gently let ourselves be in the present. And what can happen is that as these parts of ourselves that we have set to one side, as they're given the space and allowed to come home, we can relive or remember things that sometimes can be perhaps quite frightening, or things that, you know, there was a reason why we forgot these things, or scattered this part of the self in the first place. So when we come home, we get to know these parts of ourselves again. But what we have in our favor is time. Time. Because now we're in a position where we're able to call these selves home. When these parts of ourselves became split off, it may have been the safest thing for us to do in a traumatic situation for survival. But approaching this now, we're in a position where we're able to assimilate it all back into ourselves. We assimilate it all back into ourselves and create the wholeness of ourselves. And we get to know ourselves all over again, and we get to know these parts of ourselves. And some of these parts of ourselves can be deeply rooted into the past. So as we get to know them, as I say, we can have memories or experience feelings that perhaps are things that we haven't actually really felt for a long time, that maybe I don't know, maybe we're associated with our childhood or different things. And some of these memories can be difficult. So it's very important, first of all, to have a strong network around you. And that doesn't necessarily mean a lot of people around, but even just to take care of yourself. And I've been thinking recently that we tend to live in a time which is based on adrenaline, and a lot of the, you know, all go 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 go, and adrenaline, of course, is part of the trauma response. So collectively, we're in this huge adrenaline rush. And so one of the things we can do is start to dial down the adrenaline and start to dial up the endorphins. We want to dial down the adrenaline and dial up the feel-good chemicals in ourselves. And we do that through, well, we all know exactly how we do it. We do it through looking after ourselves. We do it through getting outside. For me, I do it through swimming. But to find something to strengthen ourselves, to give ourselves that stable platform from which we can start to bring these aspects of ourselves home that might be difficult. And once we have this stable platform, then we can approach the whole thing with an attitude of curiosity rather than, for example, fear or whatever. We can approach it with curiosity, and we can think of getting to know ourselves as really getting. We have the opportunity to really get to know a human being in all of their richness, and that human being is ourself. That human being is ourself, to get to know all of these parts of ourselves. And so the ones that come out mostly at the beginning is it can very often be the parts that are fearful or anxious, or these very raw traumatized energies. And so what do? We keep breathing. We feel it to heal it. We recognize this. We welcome it in as a part of ourselves, and we assimilate it into the person that we are now. Because these parts of ourselves, these are bound to the past, but we assimilate the past into the present. Instead of axing it off, we bring it home into the center, and we accept it without judgment, and we feel it. And very often the mind then will create narratives and whatever, but we try to bring it back to the breathing. We try to bring it back to the body, and we get to know ourselves this way. So, and beyond that then, so just because I mean, I'm sure it sounds terribly off-putting to be confronting our sort of former traumas, but once we get beyond this and realize that these parts of ourselves can no longer hurt us, the pain that we might have had is historic pain, and we can bring that home and recognize that within ourselves, and recognize that we have experienced this. We have experienced this, but now we're here. Now we're here in this moment. And as we sort of sift through and accept these sort of the big, more overwhelming things that we've put in the back burner, we find lots of other things about ourselves as well. And this is really where the element of curiosity can come in, because we find parts of ourselves then as well, that we find the vulnerability, we find the resilience. You know, the fact that we're all still here shows the strength and resilience that has been a factor all the way through as well in all of our lives. So we just bring it home. We just bring it home. And even if these things seem frightening, we bring it home. And every time we bring it home, we expand ourselves. We become more at home with ourselves. We create a rich self that we can accept without shame or without judgment. So this is really the story for today. It's what happens when we meditate, when we bring the selves home. Well, we have to welcome them in, whatever it is, whatever we've been through, whatever we've been. If we want to be real in the present moment, then we need to recognize the fullness of our experience, the fullness of who we actually are. And the rewards for doing that are it can't even really be put into words. It's richness of the inner world and a stability. When we have all of ourselves scattered all over the place, we are unstable. There are parts of ourselves that are dislocated from the center, and we end up acting out in strange ways with other people. When we bring all these selves home, we bring it home and we sit with it and we accept it and we assimilate it. And it isn't out there anymore. It's here. You know, we live in our own center and in our own heart. And a lot of this is about the heart and having the compassion, the self-compassion, to not be ashamed, not be afraid of who we are. So we haven't really done any meditating this morning. Well, this is meditation, but again, the pattern this follows is bring ourselves into the moment, bring ourselves into the breathing, just spending a little bit of time just being with the fullness of the self. So thank you very much. That is really all I have to say this Monday morning. I hope you have a splendid week and I will see you next Monday. Thank you very much. Goodbye.